Hello everyone, welcome back to Profit First, and with me today I've got Mark Knops from Sketch Lab. So first question is, perhaps you could just introduce yourself, Mark, and let us know what you and Sketch Labs actually do.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Phil. My name's Mark Knops. I'm the CEO and founder of Sketch Labs. We find really cool office spaces for companies in London.
Fantastic, good stuff. So obviously a lot has gone on in the wider world over the last couple of years. And I'm imagining office space has been a bit of a topsy-turvy roller coaster ride for you. So perhaps you could give us a brief rundown of what sort of happened for you in the last 2 years then, Mark.
Well, I mean, to put it simply and shortly, total disaster. But thankfully, the market's coming back and stronger than ever, actually. So I launched the company 1 month before the pandemic hit. So couldn't have timed it better. And what happened was we were experiencing a really, really promising high growth period of property before the pandemic hit. And, companies like Fora, Second Home, we're all really trying to push this forward next generation type of office space. And office space was coming quite cool. Then the pandemic hit. And everyone, and when I say everyone literally left their offices because the government advised them to work from home. And so our industry was hugely impacted. People lost jobs. I had to get another job delivering sausages for my local my local butcher, which was great, by the way. Loved it. So for a good year and a half, we saw little to no business in commercial property, which was a great sadness. A lot of businesses shut down, providers, landlords, but very slowly we saw companies start to come back to the office. But it was much different. It was far more different than it was before. We experienced hybrid working, which hasn't really been a talked about thing in the past. It's definitely been there for years, but it's not so popular as it is now. So now a lot of landlords are trying to adapt this new way of working to suit their clients' needs. And Sketch Labs has done brilliantly because we're a young bunch, we hybrid work, and our clients like us for that and our image and the landlords that we work with. So we've got this brand that really targets this next generation, this new generation of workspace.
Good, fantastic. So what would you say was the biggest change that you had to make apart from delivering sausages during lockdown then, Mark?
Marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy. Talk to me about that, sorry.
So it's very difficult to put a strategy in place when there is no clear guidance as to what's going on. And we found that with the government guidance and advice, it would change every single week. So trying to run a marketing campaign when the government's saying, okay, we can all go back to the office, and then the following month they say, no, we're pulling out because cases are rising. We spent a lot of money, basically, which just went down the drain because there was a lot of misinformation going out, and it was getting a lot of people frustrated, even though the cause obviously was for the good thing. So rather than pushing out marketing campaigns, we really start to focus on our brand and trying to put out that image rather than, campaigns. So we've launched a brand new website, which is epic, really good. And that's what we put a lot of time into. It's taken about a year to get that rebrand and website launched, but we wanted it to be absolutely brilliant. And we find that not trying to say bad things about our competitors, but a lot of them are quite old and very old-fashioned, and we wanted to bring a really cool brand new twist to finding office spaces, because let's be honest, it's not the most interesting thing in the world. So if we can try and make it quite a cool and fun experience and an enjoyable experience, then we're doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say the biggest win has been? Maybe it wasn't sort of back in April, May 2020. Maybe it's more recent than that. What would you say your biggest win has been, Mark, in that period of time?
Do you know what? I think so. We placed a really big client called Ali Abdul, who's a well-known YouTuber, and from that, he was able to really introduce us to a lot of great clients. So I think in terms of deals, he's been the biggest win for us. And he's exactly the type of client that we wanted to attract. So he used to be a doctor, who then started his own YouTube channel, has got over 2 million subscribers on his channel. And then he wanted a really cool space that he was able to do post-production in, as well as have an office. So we partnered him up with a company called Fora. They are hands down, I'm not going to say the best because all my clients will get annoyed at me, one of the best in the industry. And he's really happy. And from there, we've been able to attract a lot of new clients, which has led to more money in the bank, rebrand. We've now got our own office. So that one deal was able to, have this spiral effect of other wins. Having our own office is amazing, and it's beautiful, and we're able to bring clients to it to show them what they could do with their office space as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a really unique way of actually working, because I don't think whenever I've looked for office space in the past, it's been an agent that's just showed us around, pointed out the obvious, and given us the terms and conditions, and that was it really. And probably did a bad job of following up as well.
Yeah, and which I might say does work for some people, but for us, now that the pandemic's hit, no one really knows what they want. So actually being able to show them and bring them into our office and demonstrate what hybrid working actually looks like, and then we scale it, build floor plans for them. It's very in person rather than just send out an inquiry. Okay, let's take you on a viewing the old-fashioned way.
Absolutely, and that's a really good point. Actually, I think people often talk about sort of consultative selling, and in some cases, it's just a buzzword. You don't really need any consultation when you're buying something that's pretty clear. But nowadays, you're right, you probably do need to be more consultative, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So what would you say the biggest challenge you've got at the moment going forward is, Mark?
There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. We don't have a prime minister. Bills are rising. So I can see a drop in demand coming, definitely. We're already being squeezed on food costs, fuel costs. So running these buildings is an expensive thing to do. So it's weird though, because I'm looking at the market and it just keeps growing and growing and growing, but that has to stop, and it's always followed by this huge drop. So we're expecting Christmas time to be not great, which is why we're trying to close as much deals as possible at the moment. It's one of those things though, it's like COVID, you can't do anything when those situations happen in property. They're either going to buy, they're either going to rent, or they're just not. But what we can do is really increase our operations and the brand, and so when people are ready, they can come back to us and they know who to go to. So I think that's the biggest challenge ahead for sure.
Absolutely, and I think for industries that are going to suffer a bit of a downturn over the next few months, the leaner they are, the better, right? In terms of being able to cut their cloth accordingly very quickly. Yeah. So the businesses know that if they lose half their business tomorrow, they're still going to be trading. So yeah, absolutely. So what are your sort of what's your long-term vision then, Mark, for the business, would you say?
So the ultimate goal is to be the brokerage to go to if you want an office space in London. So we're really investing in our SEO, trying to get onto that front page of Google, trying to compete with the big players. But the real goal is to just give people a truly in-hand experience, a really good, positive experience finding an office space. We've done that from day one. We're just trying to scale it now. We're not trying to take over the world. I've been asked many times if we want to expand into other areas of the UK or other areas of Europe or the world. The answer is just no. It might change, but our bread and butter is London. We want to be the best people to go to for London office space. There's also a hell of a lot of office space in London. So we're constantly busy. London domination.
It's not a bad city to try to dominate, though, is it? It's not a small place.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do.
Absolutely. But you're right about the availability is huge. So yes, something's got to happen with it, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And if that means they have to cut their cloth accordingly to be able to get the space rented out, then they will do. I would have thought.
Yeah.
I suppose as well, a lot of people will have been thinking, well, hang on a minute, can't we actually get planning permission for offices to move to residential? But for that to happen, that's not really going to work, because the balance of offices and resi needs to be about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, why is everyone going to want to live somewhere where there are no offices? It doesn't make sense. So the balance is probably Sorry.
In this, I've started seeing that in this city, these huge buildings, office buildings, are now being turned into residential. And I hope a lot of your followers are, they love the sticks in the countryside as much as I do, but there's going to be some people who also like living in the city as much as working in the city. But for me, I couldn't live in a huge, I'm sure it'd be very nice, but I would not want to live in the city. Yeah.
I would have been up for it when I was in my early 20s, I think, and then after that, nah,
Yeah,
not for me either. But yeah, okay. So if your ideal customer is watching this right now, Mark, what do they look like? What do they usually want, and how can you help them?
So we can help everybody, whether that's one person, one man band, up to the big corporates. We've done both. But what I would like to see is I would like to attract more startups. So very early age startups who don't know what they want, and we can grow with them as well, because the majority of our clients are 1 to 10 people companies who then scale very quickly, and they come to us because they want a flexible contract. A lot of brokerages and agencies will try and get you into a 12-month term or longer because it's good revenue for them. But for me, I'm all about referrals over revenue. So we try to attract these small companies that really want to grow, and then we can find them those flexible contracts and then move them and move them and move them. So in terms of industries, though, we work with so many different companies. Like I said, the YouTuber, all the way up to huge conferencing companies, building companies, financial, a lot of recruitment, they just grow and grow and grow. So we can do literally everything. The types of offices that we specialize in is serviced offices. So when an office is completely furnished, everything's included, the Wi-Fi, there's a receptionist and so on. Managed space, which is basically your own private floor rather than an office within an office building. So and that's all kitted out as well, self-contained, furnished. And then finally, our private lease, which is for companies that want big spaces and they do want to sign for a long period of time.
Got it. Fantastic. So if any of these ideal potential customers want to contact you then, Mark, how best can they reach you?
The best way they can reach me is mark@sketchlabs.co.uk or Stacey@sketchlabs.co.uk, my number 2. But please check out our website, www.sketchlabs.co.uk. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and you can read up about us and what we're about and who's involved. Also, we've got a great little funky Instagram going on, Sketchlabs London. But I'm always on LinkedIn. Feel free to add me. Feel free to slide into the DMs, and we can help out. I think also one thing I should have mentioned: our service is totally free. We don't charge the client anything because there is no need to. We charge 10% to the landlords that we place them with, and that's how we make our money. To be totally transparent.
Fantastic. That is quite a unique selling proposition. I've not heard that before. So
yeah.
For now, thank you so much, Mark. It's been an absolute pleasure, and yeah, catch up soon.
Cheers, Phil. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.